Welcome back. In today's episode, I'm going to be continuing the No New Tiles challenge. And in this challenge, I cannot place down any new tiles. So that means just normal tiles, gas permeable tiles, mesh tiles, insulated tiles. I can't use any of that. Everything has to be naturally dug out. I can use a bit of ladders just to kind of get from one place to another, but I'm not going to be bridging large gaps with ladders because that would just be cheating. So this is the challenge. I've started off already. I got about 44 cycles into this, and you can see my base where it's at right now. I think the biggest, most pressing thing is that I got to get my algae situation figured out so that I can really produce a lot of oxygen. I'm also going to be running into a bit of a food problem, so I got to work on that as well. Last time though, the biggest accomplishment is I got a large reserve of power, like tons of power. You guys were saying, oh, there's too many batteries, but you know what? I like a lot of batteries right there. So I got the coal generator and all that stuff set up, and that'll be really good and take a lot of burden off of trying to generate power. So in this one, hopefully, here's my initial plans going into this, is that I'm going to go ahead and use some of those biodistillers and things like that. I'm going to start to place it over here in the cold environment. I'm also going to try to get blossoms working. I think I'm going to go ahead and put blossoms right down here in this area so that I can get access to that nice cool area, because blossoms, they like the cool air a little bit more. And up here, it's just a little bit, just a few degrees too warm for them. So I'm going to move that down there, try to get a farm working at some point, but I'm probably gonna have to use this micro musher in the meantime to keep everybody sustained. Obviously I want to go ahead and do some more research, but it's going to be more about those functional utilities today, and hopefully I don't starve to death in the meantime. So let's get into it. Alright, so for the first order of business, I need to make sure I'm digging this stuff up. Obviously it's a lot of slime, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta get dirty in order to survive. You know, another thing you guys were mentioning, I heard this a couple times in the comments. I've kind of been out of town, so I had a lot of time to go through a ton of those comments, by the way. A little bit more on that later. But if I take a ration box and put it down in carbon dioxide, I might have heard that that can help refrigerate things. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's worth a test. If nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and put it down here because I'm planning for this to be cooler. And obviously putting a ration box in a cool location over here, I mean, that's honestly where you want to put it, because that's nice and cool. That's gonna self-refrigerate. So I'm gonna try to move it from over here, because you've seen I have had a couple of problems with like the rot pile of these things just kind of going bad. So I'm losing food that way, which is not good, because I have unrefrigerated food as per that caution over there. Speed the game up a little bit. I'm gonna be super speeding it today a little bit. Actually, I think you guys were talking many times about pressing like Alt and Z to speed up the game. Yeah, there we go. See how that moves a little faster? Look at how fast they go. I think that's 5x or so. Man, this might be a little bit faster than 5x. This is flying. Bubbles is a little bit stressed, so we're gonna knock some of that stress down. Devin, get on over here. Massage it up, bro. I don't like having to resort to these massage tables, but sometimes you gotta do it. That was not a very productive day at all. Hardly got anything done. We're digging a little bit, but not a ton. Alright, so a little bit more on what's been going on here in my life. So, I actually got sent out again on another trip. It's actually the second time I've been on a trip in a week, believe it or not. So, I've been a traveling man here recently. So, just got back from New York this morning, actually. The state, not the city. But, nothing that fancy. So, all I've wanted to do is be making more YouTube videos, but unfortunately I've been away from my computer, so I haven't been able to do that. The other thing, though, is that I've been able to actually catch up on the comment section. Since these videos are starting to get a lot more views now, there's a surprising quantity of comments out there. So I was actually at Sears last night. I was actually at a mall, just like I had nothing to do. Just walking around. What am I gonna do? I got a whole evening of nothing. So I went to the movie theater, but before that, I was in the mall, and I ended up just going to Sears because there was nobody there. Found like the furniture section and sat down in like the most comfortable chair and went through comments for about an hour and a half or so. So that was pretty awesome, and there's a lot of really good recommendations that you guys are leaving down there. A ton of tips too. That's good stuff. Definitely be getting into more of that here pretty soon, and I would like to create more videos. Right now I'm kind of at a pace of about 3 a week. That works all right for me, but I think there's potential for more, maybe 4 or 5. 4 is probably a good number. 5 if possible. Is this algae dioxide? I just turned it on, bro. Is it waiting for something? Anyhow, so that's what that was. I watched Ghost in the Shell last night. That was actually pretty good, believe it or not. I've seen the anime back in the day, and that was pretty interesting to kind of catch up on what that anime was about. I don't necessarily remember the story completely because that's been a long time. So I personally thought they did a pretty cool job. It was one of those movies that I actually watched it in 3D just because of when it was showing. But I'll have to say this, it was probably the coolest movie I've seen in 3D. Just because there's so much CGI in it, and it's pretty cool as far as like how the CGI is done. And it works really, really good with 3D, so. I don't normally like 3D movies because it's kind of an awkward situation with the glasses and everything. But that right there was a good 3D movie. Alright, so let's see here. I got a lot of duplicates that are just kind of, they're spending a lot of time just running water over here. Kind of annoying. Come on now. Do something besides running this water all over the place. I mean, I get it. It's not that they aren't. Here's the problem. So everybody's coming over here to get water, but there really isn't a lot of water there for them to get. This is a part where the game's, maybe it's because this here isn't open, so they aren't going down here to get a lot of water. Because truly there isn't a lot of water there to get. So maybe if I open up that area, they'll move more than 100, 1 kilogram at a time here. And then if I lock this one closed, once people are out of it, no. 1,000 grams constantly. I'm gonna have to build this door here. Try to lock people out of it. Priority 9, come on, build it. Everybody else will just... It's getting out of hand, but it's getting out of hand because nobody's ever moving enough water to run the terraniums. Come on now. Hey, but I already told you to get on this thing. Why are you beating up my stuff? I told you to get over here. Is there something more important that you had to take it out on my battery? Alright, so here's where I'm at. They will constantly deliver this to the algae terranium, but they just aren't getting enough water at the moment. So I gotta lock this closed. Hopefully. No, I'm gonna run through it first before we lock it. And then you're gonna lock it behind them? No. Somebody lock the door. I need you to, there we go, finally got the deoxidizer going. Had to turn it up to priority 9. Okay, nobody's gonna lock this door. Come on, come on. Stupid duplicants, lock the door! There we go, finally locked the door. Now come down here and get a lot of water. You can do it, duplicants. I know you can. No, of course not. What a pain in the butt. There we go. Canalita finally figures it out. Hey, look, you can get more water down here. Yeah. How much you gonna deliver? Loads of it. Like 100 kilograms or something. I guess that's something you gotta look out for. Is that if your duplicates aren't moving much water. There was comments about this as far as what I meant by when I said the algae terranium isn't the most efficient thing. You saw right there the example of why I said that was not a very efficient thing. It's just not the fact that the terranium itself isn't efficient. It's that once you get your duplicate stuck in this situation where they're only moving 1 kilogram of water, is that it'll kill your entire base if everybody's trying to run that water, because they never give it enough water for that thing to actually run. So in this case, they were coming over here to the waterfall because it's the path of least resistance, and nobody's, actually getting enough water. They get a kilogram and then they just run off. So therefore, you're not producing any oxygen, and nobody ever gets anything. You get what I'm saying, right? You can see how that would just self-destruct very, very quickly. Now if I get anybody to lock this stupid door. Lock the door! Bubbles? No. Nope. I'm going to kill them all. They're all going to die. I'm going to turn you into hamsters, every single one of you. Takes all day for my duplicates to lock a door. Lock a door. Lock it. Lock it. There we go. Alright, hopefully my duplicates will actually get some decently quantity now. Now that I've locked off all the paths. Which means I can't ever get back to my coal generator anymore. Whatever. Not everything's working out here. I'm trying. Not everything's working out. Alright, there we go. Now the traniums are running again. Things are starting to look a little bit better. That polluted oxygen's starting to get pushed back. Alright, good stuff. Still not taking this stuff up though. It's only priority 8. That's all. It's apparently not high enough. I got a lot of travel time. Look at that. 1,739 seconds. It's taking a long time to move around. It's not a very efficient layout. And that's one of the problems. So, talking about layout though, there was actually a comment over here that I read. So apparently if you dig 2 tiles up, 1 tile to the left, 2 up, 1 to the right, you could actually apparently go up and down without a ladder. And how is this unreachable? Okay, so that's what's going on. Apparently the game thinks that that is unreachable. That seems like a weird glitch. There you go. The manual airlock was deterring people from actually going in there and digging. And it wasn't set to like lock or anything. Alright. Stuff to be aware of, that's all. Happens. There we go, now we're making some progress over here. Alright. Things are starting to stabilize out a little bit here. It's getting nice and calm. Let's see what else I got. What other challenges? Do a door only challenge. So many people have been recommending that I try to do a door only. So Max here, Max and many others were like, build a base with tons and tons of doors. You know how hard that's gonna be? Because it's gonna be so incredibly inefficient. No deconstructing challenge? Yeah, that'd be pretty hard. Alright, no ladders challenge. Duplicants can climb through a 1-block gap. Alright, so that's what I was curious about. That's what this whole thing's been about. Apparently you can actually climb through a 1-gap thing. Ready? We're gonna do an experiment on this one. People are telling me it's possible. So where else better to try it than right here? I'm gonna go ahead and dig this up. It'll be nice priority. So if I do 1, 2, 1 over. You're telling me that you can climb through this right here? You should be able to get through that. Let's see. Alright, let's see if this works. Come on, people. Dig it up. There you go. Oh, you can climb through that. That's tricky. Alright, so technically, yeah, I could totally do a no ladders challenge. I'll practice that a little bit more around here. As far as the algae, yeah, I got a lot of it now. The next thing I need to do, though, is I need to get water from up here. So that is currently unreachable. Alright, let's see if I can solve my problem with digging, though. We'll dig up, we'll dig up, we'll dig up. And then we'll use that ladder technique again. Well, actually, this would work over here. Just do this number. Just cancel all that. Alright, let's break this loose. Come on. Alright, a couple more digs. Come on now. Yeah, there we go. The flood. It's gonna happen while everybody's sleeping, too. Here comes all that water. Apparently no. It got stuck. Come on, go up there, help it out. There we go. Well, that works. Look at how much water I got now. I feel like that worked out pretty good. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. If I dig this out, no, you can't get down to it. I would need a spot right here. How do I get to this side? Actually, it looks like I can dig this right here, right? There we go. Now the stuff's reachable. Aha! There's a whole technique to that. So here's how this works, right? You just need one here, and then a piece here, or a piece there. And you can just keep going back and forth. So you could actually just make the same sort of pattern. So that same triangle constantly all the way up. If you really want to have like something that has good flow of gas, but you don't need to make a ladder. Ah! No ladder challenge, no problem. Maybe next time. Knock it out like it's nothing. Once again, I got the same problem, so let's go ahead and make this door. Level 9. Lock people out of here. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. That's what's going on. That's why I got contaminated water. Gosh, I stopped thinking for a moment. The biodistillers are outputting contaminated water. And they're outputting it to where I don't want it. Alright, deconstruct that. Good, that'll turn off the pipe. Nearly pumped a whole bunch of crap into a spot that just did not need it. Alright, so here's the trick. How do I get clean water out of here to where I need it to go? Or do I just put in a filter and run it that way? Filter's not very efficient. Uh-oh. It's getting complicated. Alright, how do I get... Step over this pipe, step over that pipe. Come over here, go up here. I guess I could just ditch that algae terranium. No point in having that. Okay, boom. Clearly that's not ugly at all. Don't look at that. Oh, here's what happened down here. This is why I got so much contaminated oxygen. All that water, gosh, there's some dirt fell down here and it blocked off that path, making it unreachable. There we go, finally got it working again. So now everybody's gonna be stressed out. Alright, so here's some more challenges. Sleepy time. Alright, so I already talked about that. Struggling for air, just mouth breathers. Scavenging for food, the bottomless stomachs, the loud sleepers, night terrors, and they all have to sleep together, so they all interrupt each other. That'd be horrible. No dupe left behind. Can't reject any new duplicates. A lot of people have been recommending like that sort of thing, or bringing in X amount of duplicates per cycle. That would be really hard. I would expect to die within 25 cycles or something like that. One time, I just want to make, you know, the giant base. Get up to an actual legitimate 100 duplicates. I think that'd be fun one day. I feel like I'm getting better at navigating by just the digging tool. Maybe. We'll find out once one of these duplicates gets stuck and dies. Every time I say something about like this is when something goes bad. Alright, good news. For the first time, I'm actually going to harvest the Bristol Blossom. So let's go ahead and get this thing going down here. Boom, harvest this stuff up. There we go. For like the nth time today, I'm gonna go ahead and move this storage box down here. So it's a little bit more out of the way. It's not in the same room with all the slime and everything. Hey! Finally got some research done this episode. Took forever. Alright, air deodorizer. Finally. Clean this area up. Seems like I also got some areas of like contaminated water showing up. It just kind of seemed to be coming from places. I don't know where. Whatever. Try to stay on top of it. Alright, starting up my next research. I want to make sure I'm getting that done. I'm gonna go for that fertilizer maker so I have that all ready to go. Speaking of which, where has this come from? Mysterious quantities of contaminated water flowing through my base. Oh my gosh, I can't seem to mop this up. Mop it. Ooh, this is a ton of algae up here. Look at all this. Algae, algae, algae everywhere. Meep's gonna have a nice adventure. I even got a couple of puffs that I might be able to bring into this whole thing. I mean, this one over here is already kind of working. You know, it's doing stuff. Alright, so here's the other thing I can bring in. I can now do a shower. Throw that in. And the bathroom as well. Of course, I built a stupid flower plot right there. Get rid of that. And once again, contaminated water awkwardly building up down here with no real good reason of why it's there. Unless it's condensing from something. Like the air. But whatever. Like I'm telling them to go to the massage table. It's level 9, but they're not doing it again. So the stress is going up high. Alright, so having my first major stress problems here. See, every time you clean one up, it cascades down onto the next tile. It's a constant problem. You can't ever get away from it. Like what? Where did this even come from? Nobody even got sick. There's just polluted water somewhere dumping into my location. I'm not getting any notifications of people getting sick. It's just suddenly I turn around and half my base is full with polluted water again. So now, even though I mopped up all of that, I gotta turn around and mop it up all again. This is just driving me nuts. Come on. Oh, Catalina, now you're stress vomiting all over the place where you got the massage table now. Alright, so I've made some progress here in this base. I've definitely started to dig and adventure quite a lot, quite all over the place, and exposing a lot more algae, and that's keeping me going at the moment. And, oh no! A bunch of polluted water is about to cascade down on me. Disable. Oh no! Oh no! Doom is coming for me! I wasn't... Oh, something broke free over there. I thought it would drain down this way, and not over here. Alright, so yeah, this is a slight problem. Alright, so I'm at the end of today's video here. Things have progressed alright. I was able to get this distillers going on, also get some water over here for some clean water. However, the big major thing is that obviously I did a ton of digging for algae. Also figured out, thanks to you guys, that you can actually create digging ladders right there, so I don't necessarily need to make ladders if I can plan it ahead just right. However, there's one giant problem that I'm facing right now, which I'll have to be in the next episode to see if I can survive beyond 100 cycles. I have a ton of polluted water that is unfortunately broken free of its holdings and is now bearing down on top of me. And it's not like I can just go ahead and reinforce that. This is gonna break, and it's gonna start to drown me. And all of my clean water will turn into dirty water. So, I might quickly be looking for a plan B. At any rate, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and if I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.